Hot off the press in Japan, the latest edition of Best Car Magazine is giving us the latest scoop on the Celica/MR2 becoming one. Check out that video. Also, the video about how I think that this new flagship sports car from Lexus could retire the F branding altogether. Check out that video. We'll talk about this. That's why you're here today. But I also made a video on this guy, the redesigned CX-5. CX-5 made my top 5 vehicles that I reviewed last year. Over 100 vehicles I reviewed. The CX-5, albeit long in the tooth, is still hanging in there as arguably the best mid-size crossover that money can buy, or you could say compact. Technically, it's a compact, all right? But it all comes down, we're boiling down to the end here of the most exciting vehicles coming next year. And I will do a follow-up video. It's probably going to be a live stream maybe January 1st. And in that live stream, I'm going to talk about every single new car coming in 2025 from every manufacturer, just about. I'm sure I'll leave something out, but guys, make sure you are subscribed because I'm excited to hang out with you on that live stream, tentatively planned for January 1st, but also on December 30th, I'm hanging out on David Chow's channel at Automotive Press. We're doing a live stream on the evening of December 30th. But let's go ahead and Google Translate this. And here we are. Guys, if you're excited for the mini Land Cruiser, don't get your hopes up. But if you would like to, here's the thing. If you would like to get this vehicle stateside, smash the like button. And I'll talk about a potential path for this vehicle to make it into the United States. At this point in time, though, it's looking dire for its availability here in the United States. The renders have been slightly updated here. Nothing to write home about. It looks like a shrub. It looks like the J250 had a baby with the Suzuki Jimny. And this is going to be a little bit bigger than the Jimny, but a lot smaller than the J250. I would say it's probably similar in size as the Bronco Sport. I really like the Bronco Sport. Has a bunch of character, a bunch of flair, has good all-wheel drive capabilities. However, the difference between this and a Bronco Sport engine options, we'll talk about that here in a second. This is still body on frame, ladder frame. This is a true truck-based SUV. Bronco Sport's unibody, and it does well with unibody. I mean, the Land Rover Defender's unibody, and that thing is a really good off-road. Okay, so it can't like some of the old Cherokees. Those are good off-road, for example. Off-road can be done on unibody. It's just body on frame vehicles typically are a better starting point for better power distribution to all wheels. You can put lockers on here to have, well, you can also have lockers on unibody. So, I mean, that's kind of a moot point. But yes, it's a more rugged platform, or more rugged starting point is a body on frame system compared to a unibody. All right. It's a true truck. Now, let's get into what they're saying about this. And I wish I had good news for you. Now, some of you guys I want to address some of this. Some of you guys have been messaging me about the Land Hopper. Just to confirm, this is not the Land Hopper. The Land Hopper is a personal mobility device. It's a 3-wheeler. I showed that to you guys. David and I showed that to you guys when it was revealed at the Japan Mobility Show 2023 last year. This is not a Land Hopper. The Land Hopper is essentially an electric scooter or electric bike, trike sort of thing. Anyways, let's get into what they're saying about the Mini FJ Cruiser, or the Mini Cruiser, the Land Cruiser FJ. We don't know exactly what the name is going to be. We just know that Land Cruiser FJ has been trademarked. All right, they said it's supposed to come out in 2024, but due to, well, Toyota's had everything delayed in the past few years because of certification issues, safety issues, emissions regulations issues with Hino and Daihatsu. So, and even I think even Toyota and Lexus, some of those certification issues affected them on the vehicle stateside. Most of this is in Japan, but it's really, really set back pretty much everything. So it is produced in Thailand as well. What else do they make in Thailand? Let me pull it up. So this is the Hilux Champ. This is a cheap Toyota pickup truck. Probably costs around $15,000. And you can get it configured in different ways. So you can get it in a manual, of course. Here's a more upscale interior of it with the orange cladding and whatnot. Look, there's not even a central screen. I can't tell you how many people would lose their minds in America, truck people, for them to not have a screen. They would be happy without a screen. They wanted a cheaper, more affordable truck. Except in America, everything is just loaded with accessories, loaded with luxury, even the base models, right? Hey, and you might be saying, Kirk, this doesn't have crank windows. Yes, it has automatic windows. It has automatic locking doors as well, even though it doesn't need automatic locking doors. It looks like it has it. But again, might be a more upscale model. This is an automatic, right? Hilux Champ, built in Thailand. You can see the Thai language up here. This thing is a Champ, and it is I actually saw one at the Japan Mobility Show. They had it customized. So with it being produced in Thailand, do we get any vehicles in America produced in Thailand from Toyota? I don't think so. I think the only one that rolls off the tip of my tongue would be the Mitsubishi Mirage, but ironically, that just got killed this year, and that was produced, I believe, in Thailand. We get a lot of motorcycles imported to the United States from Thailand, but that's completely different, like my ZX4RR is from Thailand. With it being produced in Thailand, it means it's being produced for the non-North American market. And that means it wouldn't pass safety regulations here or emissions regulations. This thing is built to a very, very cheap build quality. Doesn't mean it won't last forever. It's just, there's no way it would pass safety regulations unless they modified it heavily, either at the factory where they produce it, or if it came to America, they would have to probably do some modifications at the port or something. With this being produced in Thailand, there's almost no chance of it coming to the United States, even though they could fetch a lot of money for this. Okay, speaking of money, they say it's about, so 4 million yen is only $25,000. Guys, you could get a $25,000 Land Cruiser. Now it would be smaller, but it's less than half the price of what the J250 costs. This is too good to be true, right? Because it will sell for equivalent $25,000 in other markets. If it were to come to America, you better believe it would cost a minimum like $35,000. So if we look at the Bronco Sport, which this would be a direct competitor to if it came to the United States, that after the destination is around $32,000. I would assume that this would start at least at $35,000 if it were to come to the United States. Now, here is the next thing I want to talk about. Well, the size, the dimensions, I'm not going to go over this too much. They say it's roughly the size of a Corolla Cross, just taller. Okay, so it's pretty compact. The engine, they're saying, is the 2.7 liter four-cylinder gasoline engine, the 2TR. This thing's, well, it used to be in the Tacoma, if I remember correctly, for a long time. It's essentially bulletproof. It would last forever. Doesn't look like diesel is going to be available, maybe not at launch, maybe not ever. If it were to come stateside, it would not get this 2.7 liter option because of emission regulations. They would have to bring a different engine and potentially a hybrid. Okay, so what engine could they bring here? Because this 2.7 is very torquey, doesn't have a lot of power, but it's not emissions friendly. So they would have to put in the new 1.5 turbo that Toyota is developing, and that produces probably around 200 horsepower. Think of it as Toyota's version of Honda's 1.5 turbo four-cylinder. And 200 horsepower, that should compete well with the Bronco Sport. The Bronco Sport has some turbocharged offerings. Now, if we look at the Land Cruiser J250 that's currently on sale in America, based off Toyota's F platform, which, by the way, this is not on Toyota's F platform, even though it's body on frame. It's on the same cheaper body on frame platform as the Hilux Champ. Just back to me bringing up the J250 hybrid. It's hybrid only in America, not in other places, of course. The J250 has the 2.7 four-cylinder. It has turbo diesels. In America, it only comes hybrid. So if this were to come to America, they would have to more than likely hybridize it on top of the turbo. I mean, that gets kind of exciting because then you're talking, my estimation would be about 250 horsepower from this thing, and torque would, I mean, it's hard to say because we don't have, it would be probably about 350 pound-feet of torque. So 200 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. But then again, we would have no manual option. Now they're saying this is a 6-speed automatic. I sure hope for Asian markets, they have a 6-speed manual in here. That would be incredible. Of course, it's all-wheel drive. Should I say four-wheel? True 4x4 four-wheel drive standard. They also are saying it's going to have the Torsen limited slip diff that you see in the J250. And for sure, it'll have a center locking diff, but there is no word on a front or rear locker. I think that would just drive up the cost too much, I would assume. So I would guess they just have a center locking diff here to make this more budget friendly. The J250's little brother, this mini Land Cruiser FJ based off the Toyota Hilux Champ. There's no way it's come to the United States without major modifications and without a major price bump. It's not going to be a $25,000 SUV. If it ever lands on our shores, it'll be $35,000, $40,000. And if it's turbo hybrid, that's just going to keep the prices really high as well. People will pay it though. This is a Land Cruiser I would rather have. A part of it is like, well, I'd rather have a Jimny over this too. Suzuki cannot sell the Jimny stateside because of safety regulations, and Suzuki hasn't been sold in America since 2011, 2012, something like that, 2013 maybe. I wish Toyota could badge the Suzuki because Toyota has about 20% share or something like that in Suzuki, maybe a little bit less. In certain markets, Suzuki rebadges the RAV4 RAV4 hybrid, RAV4 plug-in hybrid as the Suzuki Across. I wish Toyota could do similar things and rebadge the Jimny, modify it as much as you need to make it available in the United States market. But again, it might be just choked out due to emissions regulations, and it can't be brought in. I know the Jimny's brought into certain markets as a commercial vehicle, and that couldn't fly here because of the chicken tax. That's also why the Hilux Champ, the non-SUV, the truck that we showed at the beginning of this video, that truck will never be sold in the United States until it's 25 years old to avoid the chicken tax situation. And that's all besides all the emissions and safety regulations that we have here. So it's really sad because honestly, I think there'd be more of a demand for a more affordable Land Cruiser in the United States than the really expensive J250. The J250s, it's great to have variety, but you can get the GX 550 if you don't want a hybrid. It doesn't cost that much more than the Land Cruiser, and you get the Lexus experience and the GX. But you also have the 4Runner that it has the same powertrains and actually more powertrain options as a Land Cruiser. It's not nearly as desirable in my opinion, but it's a little bit more affordable than the Land Cruiser. The Land Cruiser is just kind of a tough spot in the United States. It's great that we have it, but an entry-level Land Cruiser could really move the needle and make the Land Cruiser nameplate even more legendary in the United States. It's a pipe dream, and it's not going to happen. And I am really sad to break this news to you guys. Should you write it off? I would say don't get your hopes up for it. There's probably 5% or less chance this vehicle comes to the United States. I hope Toyota proves me wrong. Maybe they can work some magic. Not getting my hopes up. And it is heartbreaking because this is one of the most desirable Toyotas in their recent history, and we're not able to get it. I don't even think I brought up when it's coming. Yes, 2025. They're saying spring of 2025. It's supposed to be released. So if it's released in 2025 early, does that mean debut, or is that it's going to be availability? I don't know. So stay tuned for on the channel. We should get an official reveal in the next 3-4 months on the baby Land Cruiser or the Land Cruiser FJ, whatever they decide to call it. Let me know which Land Cruiser you would want the most and put it in order. How about that? So you have Land Cruiser 300, 250, and let's just call this I don't even know what you would call this, a Land Cruiser J125. I have no idea what they would call this. Half of the 250, so let's just call it J125. Let me know which Land Cruiser in which order. For me, it'd be the baby first, and then maybe the 300 because we don't get it, so it's kind of forbidden fruit, and then the J250. But over the J250, I'd rather have the GX 550. So I'm shutting it down. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more coverage. Peace out.